At the start of the COVID pandemic, you were asked to be part of a team of volunteer experts assembled to build tools for modeling and forecasting the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic in California. Can you tell us about that experience and what kinds of tools you used, like the problem you were faced with, and how you tackled it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think it was obviously a scary time, I think, for everybody. So it's like you really kind of got to the extent that anyone wants to transport themselves back to March of 2020. You kind of have to kind of go back in time to when we didn't know anything, and we're just sort of doing the best we could in the face of a very new and very very scary disease. Sort of took over the world for a bit there. I was unemployed. I had left Slack in November 2019, and so I was just kind of hanging out with not much to do. And my old friend DJ Patel, who's used to be the chief data scientist at LinkedIn and chief data scientist of the United States, still very like plugged in, networked into governments and all that kind of good stuff. Gave me a call and was like, "Hey, Josh, we're assembling a team to help out the Department of Public Health in California with their sort of forecasting. We're trying to figure out everything. We're trying to figure out what sort of lockdown, what sort of like shutdown system do we need? Where do we need ventilators? Where do we need do we need to convert a stadium into a hospital? Like, what do we need to do, basically?" And so they were working with a team of epidemiologists at Johns Hopkins, basically like postdocs, PhD students who honestly had been, living this nightmare for a lot longer than I had, and had not slept, and had been essentially like running these models, like running these forecasting models, prediction models of like how the pandemic would go, continuously for weeks. And our job, like what we were sort of called in to do, myself, my friend Sam Shaw, a few other folks who were generally like ex-Obama White House people that DJ had known from his time there, um, was to like relieve them and give them a hand and help them out with anything they needed. Um, because yeah, it's like really what we were doing was like, so I was effectively doing, I think I was for a brief period of time, I was like every data scientist's dream, which is that I was your software engineer who was here to do anything you needed. Anything you needed. I was at your beck and call. I was your chat GPT, just to mention it one more time in this talk, right? Um, I am here at your disposal. If you have an optimization problem, I am here to help. If you need, and then this is kind of what we did. We took the software they were running on a big machine at Johns Hopkins, and we like Dockerized it, containerized it, structured it into kind of a proper pipeline, and we just again, like literally the early stages, Sam and I were just like swiping our own credit cards at AWS to buy the biggest machines we could find to run like just more and more and more versions of these simulations basically as fast as we could, so that we would have some idea of what was about to hit us, like what was our best understanding of like what was going to go down. And it was like, yeah, it was a crazy 48 hours from when I started the project to when we like presented our results to the governor and the governor's staff and stuff like that, like right before he shut down the state of California. And I was like, yeah, it was like
Wow.
nothing, like absolutely nothing like it. Like just, you know, anyway, I was talking about like the decision making stuff was like the midlife crisis, and that experience, that 48 hours was the cure. I don't really ever have to worry about like was my work meaningful,
Right.
kind of ever again. It was deeply meaningful to me. Um, yeah, that was what we did.